Hey, everybody, welcome to Retell Cellar, an ephemera podcast where I uncover forgotten stories and the ephemera people leave behind. I'm Angie, a reseller of 10 years, and I'll share one of those snippets with you. Let's see what today's find has to say. I purchased a 1952 Purdue yearbook back in 2023 from an estate sale, and it was in the basement on some handmade wooden shelves, and there wasn't much left to pick from, as I usually go on the last day of sales. I see a black yearbook with red and white lettering called Debris, and I thought, what a strange name. I picked it up and was shocked at its 5.5 pound weight, and I started rifling through it and decided to get it. I listed this on a few platforms, and I tried high prices, low prices, sale prices, and it wasn't moving. Eventually, I realized I should look up and see if any notable people attended Purdue in 1952. And I thought, why didn't I think about that before? And to my surprise, there was someone notable, and her name was Ruth Seams, the creator of Stovetop Stuffing. Today's snippet is called Stovetop Pioneer. It was printed in the Evansville newspaper, dated May 29th, 1991. Here's how it goes. In 1971, Evansville native Ruth Seams came up with an idea that took stuffing out of the oven and put it on the range. The home economist developed Stovetop Stuffing, a top product of General Foods Corp., with more than 1 billion boxes sold. Miss Seams, who now lives in Newburgh, was awarded a government patent for her creation. The creation of Stovetop Stuffing in General Foods' plant in White Plains, New York, was the high point of her 33-and-a-half-year career with the company, she said. She retired in 1987 at age 55. I know for a fact that if it hadn't been for Ruth Seams, there wouldn't be Stovetop Stuffing, she said. My patent created a whole new food business. Stovetop Stuffing certainly has been a successful product, said Nan Redman, a corporate affairs director for Kraft General Foods. The product line has been expanded to include several flavors and a microwave version. Microwave directions have been offered on regular Stovetop Stuffing boxes for some time. The microwave version, which includes a microwave-safe pan for cooking the stuffing, has been on the market for several months. It has allowed cooks to prepare a stuffing without also preparing a turkey or a chicken. It's very convenient, she said. The idea for an instant stuffing came from the marketing department. It was up to the research and development staff to create the product. The test kitchens, the chefs, and all the workers in research and development were given a shot at developing the new stuffing. I felt kind of lucky that mine was the idea they chose, said Miss Seams. Today, she said, food companies hire food technologists for their research and development staffs. Home economists are relegated to the kitchen to test what the technologists have developed. That's backwards. Home economists belong in the development, she said. Miss Seams worked for almost 4 years in product research and development at the Englehart Brothers plant of General Foods in Evansville. She worked on quality control for Angel Food cake mixes and did research on the Swan's Down brand of cake mixes and on flours. Development of Stovetop Stuffing took about 2 years, she said. Other food companies had been working on similar products, but the Stovetop brand clearly was the best, she said. After the product was developed, the major problem was finding suppliers to provide the bread for the stuffing. We had to have a yeast-raised bread for the flavor and texture. General Foods wasn't in the bread business, so we had to find the right supplier. Her patent was based on a certain size of breadcrumb that makes the rehydration or addition of water work, she said. Today, companies apparently can't afford to test products as thoroughly as they once did, said Miss Seams. Every little change demanded consumer testing, she said. She and her crew often traveled to other cities to test product tolerance. Some consumers never followed directions, she said, and it was her job to see if the product held up, either 10% over or under the directions. Over the years, she's seen the food business follow and create trends. Consumers, however, often resist trying new products. I remember when people were a little suspicious of packaged products, such as cake mixes, she said. My boss fought microwave cooking all his life. But I cook most of my meals in the microwave except when I have company. A graduate of Purdue University, Miss Seams became a home economist because she liked to cook, sew, and make crafts. She's been in Newburgh since November when she moved from the east into the historical Cutteridge Curtis home. She is the daughter of the late Werner and Ruth Seams. Her father was principal of Redeemer Lutheran School. Everyone always had me pegged as a creative person, she said. I've always liked to put things together. And does she still like stovetop stuffing? Oh, yes, I eat it quite frequently. There are always a few boxes in my kitchen. Well, it seems Miss Seams was always in the business of consistency. How do you take something people are used to making from scratch at home and make it work the same way every single time, same consistency, same taste out of a package? She wasn't famous. She wasn't a TV chef. She was just a smart Midwestern kid who, as she said, liked to put things together. The product was tested in the early 70s and rolled out nationally not long after under the name Stovetop, and it was a hit. It didn't need to be served on Thanksgiving with a turkey. It could have been served with a roast on a Tuesday. In 1975, the U.S. patent for the instant stuffing mix was officially granted, and Ruth's name is listed with a couple of other co-creators. Anne L. MacDonald, who wrote Feminine Ingenuity, wrote about Seams saying, quote, she still felt that her employers kept her at least one grade level below male peers with similar education, experience, and intelligence, a situation that she felt was par for most women at the tech center, end quote. Anne also talks about how Ruth, along with her product manager, thought Ruth had not been adequately recognized, and while they did choose Ruth's recipe from a large pool, the company's vice president ended up giving credit to a chef who had submitted a recipe yet was not chosen. For Ruth's efforts in creating stovetop stuffing, she received a plaque and a $125 bonus. And when Philip Morris bought the company, they retired everyone over 50, and Ruth ended up refusing the retirement package. When the billionth package was made in 1984, the company had T-shirts made to celebrate the milestone, and no one apparently thought to send one to Miss Seams. Her brother-in-law said she had a good sense of humor, as when she saw the back of the T-shirt, which said, "Stuff it," she said, "Those are my sentiments exactly." Ruth never did marry and stayed connected with family and her church community. Family and friends described her as modest, quietly creative, and generous, someone who liked to help people, support church and missionary work, and just live her life. She always had a love for antiques and old technology, things like spinning wheels and looms. She restored them and brought them back to working condition. And there's something kind of perfect about that. The woman who helped create this ultra-modern convenience food also spent her time rescuing tools from a much slower time, more hands-on way of life. Ruth died of a heart attack at the age of 74 in Indiana. After she died in Santa Claus, Indiana, they created a theme park called Holiday World. They opened a Thanksgiving-themed family coaster called Good Gravy, and in some of the coverage, they reference Indiana's Thanksgiving food legacy, including stovetop and Ruth's invention. Now, my connection to stovetop stuffing is that I have a pretty difficult time saying it, apparently, which I've learned throughout this entire episode, and you may have noticed it in a few spots. I haven't eaten stovetop stuffing in years, but I definitely remember the flavor and the texture. I'm more of a turkey leg, mashed potatoes, and gravy kind of gal. Learning a little bit about Ruth, though, really made me think of how many people integral to the things that we use or eat every day we will never know. So what did this story say to you? Did it speak to your childhood, or was there a time in which you were recognized or not recognized for something? I'd love to know. Thank you for joining me as I shared a snippet of the past. I'd love to know if it connected with you in some way. Did it spark a memory or make you see something differently? If so, consider sharing it. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional info, links, and ways to connect. It's not nostalgia, it's human. Until next time, may you find something worth holding on to.